Hi, my name is Elena Lee. This is my presentation over Eddie Murphy. This is speech 4, and this is my final speech. The greatest piece of advice I could give is to not take anyone's advice. Eddie Murphy. The tape clicks. It's time, says my dad, grinning from the front seat. We are on our annual family road trip, and Eddie Murphy's Delirious has just started playing. My brother's headphones pop out of his head, and I sit up in my seat. We've already heard this track 100 times, but it's just as funny the 100th time as it was the first time. And yes, we know all the words. Eddie, your comedy is timeless. It's one of a kind. You have filled the hearts of people of all ages across the world with laughter and joy. Eddie began his stand-up career at a young age. In 1987, Eddie released Delirious. Described as the most famous stand-up special of all time by The Guardian, Delirious took the comedy world by storm. Eddie overcame a very challenging childhood. Hello Magazine describes him as a kid who overcame intense and a tough upbringing to bring joy to others. Eddie's talent is apparent. You can look at his long list of awards, including a Golden Globe, or you can just watch one of his tapes. Delirious was the first of its kind, and it was hilarious, a major success. It led to Eddie Murphy Raw, which grossed $50 million at the box office, which is very, very impressive for a comedy stand-up special. Eddie's unique delivery style is something that the comedy world will always be grateful for. Stand-up was forever changed by Eddie Murphy's performances that were non-stop laughter and joke after joke. This inspired many of the nowadays comedians. According to TheDelight.com, Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock were two major comedians who were influenced by Chris Rock's performance, his jokes, and his delivery style. Because of Eddie's vision for comedy, we have years of laughter guaranteed, as many comedians are inspired by his take on stand-up comedy. Eddie's hard work has opened the door for many comedians years to come. We will be left with comedians who are able to find their own success because of the trail that Eddie blazed. Not only has Eddie induced fits of laughter for people of all ages with his specials, he has touched the lives of many with his various movies. From Donkey and Shrek to Dr. Dolittle, Eddie has put countless smiles on children and adults' faces across the earth. Although, according to the Razzies, Eddie's Worst Actor of the Decade award, sorry Eddie, he worked on a lot of kid classics, such as The Haunted Mansion and Daddy Daycare. Eddie, thank you for bringing laughter and joy to my childhood. Every time that I turned on one of your movies, my favorite was Haunted Mansion, I always knew that a smile would be brought to my face and I would enjoy the day, or the time that I had spent watching it. Except, I will not thank you for The Adventures of Pluto Nash. That movie is truly awful, and I don't know what you were thinking. Eddie, you are a pioneer for comedy. You have inspired the greats and have a successful career in stand-up comedy and movies. That makes you a legend. Thank you for your dedication and hard work to this industry and to the world of comedy. You have made millions of all different ages, all different demographics, all across the world laugh endlessly at your hilarious humor, jokes, and presentation style. I'd like to thank you, and I'd like to end this speech with a quote of yours that has still impacted me to this day. If you're an artist for a long time, at some point it stops being a performance. I do not perform anymore. I reveal myself to the audience. I show you some of me. It's not a show, no mo. Eddie Murphy. Thank you for your time, and thank you, Eddie, for your dedication to comedy for all of these years. I can now take a question. The question asked is, what childhood did Eddie endure, and when did he become a comedian? Eddie endured a rough childhood, as I said previously in the speech. When he was a young boy, his father was murdered by his father's girlfriend, and he was left orphaned, as his mother had died when he was younger as well. And he sifted through the foster system for a few years before he found a permanent home. Through the time he was 8, he recollected never having a year of normalcy. Every year till the age of 8, he was struggling in some way or another. Eddie fell back on comedy in his teen years and began his stand-up career at that point in his life, and he has been successful ever since. Thank you.